In our second day of review, we are going to be looking at transformations. So let's just get started with this right away. What I'm doing for this first set of questions is to write the translation vectors that map A onto A prime and B onto B prime. The vector was just, I have the change in X and the change in Y on the bottom, instead of just saying something like the change in X, comma, the change in Y over there. It's just a different way of writing the same thing. So to go from A to A prime here, I'll choose a point on A, and I need to choose a corresponding point on A prime and see how far I moved. So first in the X, I went -2 in the X, so I'll write -2. And in the Y, I had to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. I went 5 down in the Y, so it'll be -5 in the Y. Easy as that. Let's move on to B and B prime. One thing to be really careful with these questions is that I'm not going from this point to the closest point in the shape, but I choose a point and I choose the corresponding point on the image of it. So I chose my point, I chose my corresponding point, and I'm just going to count. All right, 1, 2 to the right in the X, which is just a +2. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 up in the Y, which is going to be a +4. So I moved 2 in the X, 4 up in the Y. All right, let's go through the rest of these pretty quick. If you ever need to pause, just feel free to pause and copy things down. So to go from A to A prime here, I'm going to choose one point and choose the corresponding point on the image. I could have chosen this point and that point, or this point and that point, but I chose this one. I can just choose one and all the others are going to be the same transformation. Here to here, I went 2 up in the Y, and since it's the Y here, I'm going to put that one on the bottom, 2 up in the Y, and I'm going over to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left, so that's going to be -5 over there. From B to B prime, let's choose, I don't know, this point, and that corresponds with this point. And it doesn't go anywhere in the Y, it just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, -5 in the X, 0 in the Y. All right, let's move on to the bottom of this sheet. Now in this one, it wants me to translate each shape according to the rules or vectors using the original shape for each translation. So I started with A over here, and this wants me to translate it using this vector, which is 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Well, I know that it does X on top, Y on the bottom. If it's positive in the X, I'm going to the right. If it's positive in the Y, I'm going up. So now I need to do this for each single point. So I'm going to go 2 to the right, 2 up. That'll be the new top point. I'll do this one, 2 to the right, 2 up. And then this one, 2 to the right, 2 up. Here is my point, or here's my full triangle, A prime. Now let's see, the second vector, -6, -5. So that's 6 to the left, 6 left because it's -6, and it's the X because it's on top, and then 5 down. I will choose this top point to start out with. Maybe I'll do that with a different color. I'm going to go 6 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my top point. And now I can do 6 to the left and 5 down again, or I can say, hey, I started here. The other point was 2 down, 1 to the left, 2 down, 1 to the left. And the third point was 2 down, 1 to the right, 2 down, 1 to the right from my original. And that should be the full image of, in this case now, A prime prime. All right, let's take a look over here. Now maybe I need to zoom in just a little bit more. What's going on? Here we go. If I zoom in a little bit more, we can take a look at this one. Maybe that was too much. All right, so I've got 2 rules, and I'm going to translate just like I just did. So this is translate, I can zoom in on the rule a little bit more. translate to the x minus 1 and y plus 4. So there's actually a couple ways you can do this, and you can do this with every single type of translation rule. If I've got x minus 1, y plus 4, I can do it the same old way I did before. I'm going to go x minus 1, y plus 1, 2, 3, 4, and that'll be the new point. Or I can look at the coordinates. This is the coordinates -3, -2. And then, well, -3 minus 1 gets me to -4. -2 plus 4 gets me to +2. So I'm guessing this should be at -4, 2. Let's see what happens if I do x minus 1, y plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is that new point over there, and it's at -4, 2. So I can either count out on the page, or I can use the coordinates. Once I've got enough of the shape, I can just kind of fill in the rest of it. And this is what it looks like after the translation. And let's do one more. Starting at, this is B prime, and now I'll do B prime prime. I'm gonna go, well, my x goes first, and then my y goes second, so 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 2, 1, 2. That was that point there, so the next point's gonna be down 1. This point's gonna be over 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. This is gonna be here, that's gonna be there. And this is my shape B prime prime. All right, let's keep moving on to the next sheet, which I have right over here. Just draw the line of reflection between each pair of shapes and then write the equation. Woo! I'm not zoomed out enough again. Here we go. Draw the line of reflection between each pair of shapes and then write the equation of the line of reflection. So here, to reflect, it means they're the same distance from some line that I'm reflecting over. So if I'm going to choose these 2 points, they are 1, 2, 3, 4 across from each other, which means their line of reflection must have been, well, it's got to be the same distance on both sides, so it's 2 and 2. This is my line of reflection. Now I'm going to explain this one fully, and then after that we're going to have to go quicker. The equation for this line, if I start looking at some points on this line, I've got the point 2, 1, 0, 1, -3, 1. It's the points 2, 1, 0, 1, -3, 1. What's happening here is my y coordinates are never changing, so the equation of this line is just going to be the line y is equal to 1, because everywhere on this line my y value is equal to 1, like we see over here. All right, on this one, you can see it's not an x equals something line, it's not a y equals something line. This is the hardest it's going to get, just about, is this kind of line that's going diagonally. If you see a shape that's reflected like this, it's going to be this line, or maybe it's going the other way. And the name of this line is the line y equals x, or x equals y. And that's because if I look at the coordinates of each point on this line, I can see that it's the points 0, 0, y is equal to x, 1, 1, x is equal to y, 3, 3, -1, -1. Every single time my y and x values are the same, so the name of this line is y equals x, or x equals y. Let's keep moving. Okay, reflect the shape over the given line of reflection. So I've got here, I'm reflecting over my y-axis, which is, this is my y-axis right here. And then I'm going to reflect over the x-axis, which is this line right over here. I'll start by reflecting over the y-axis. So I'm going to count to my line and then count past it. Here's 1 point. This was at -4. I go to 0, so it was 4 to get there. I'm going to be 4 again. It'll be at +4. This is at -3. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 to my y-axis, and then I'll go 1, 2, +3. Here is my shape, A prime. Next, I'll do the same thing, but over the x-axis, the second one now. Well, I'm going to go 1 down, so I'm going to go 1 down, that's that point. 2 down, so then 2 past my line of reflection. And this is at +4, so it's going to make me go 4 down. I'll go to -4. And this is the point, or this is the shape, A double prime. All right, let's keep going. I have to reflect over the line y equals 1. If my y value is always 1, that means it's going to be this line right here, because my y value is always 1. That is my first line of reflection. And while we're here, let's just do the second line of reflection. I'm going to reflect over the line x equals -1. Well, here is the point, -1 for x, and this is going to be the line x equals -1 right here. So there it is. And now I'm going to do my 2 reflections, and I'll zoom back out for that. My first reflection is going to be really nice and easy because it's just this point reflecting over this line, because those 2 points are on the line itself. They're not going to move. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 down, so then 1, 2, 3 down. And here is my shape B prime. And then next, the line x equals -1. Well, I'm going to count 2 to it and then 2 past it. Here's the next point. I'm going to count 2 to it, 2 past it. And then this was 2 over, so it's going to be 2 more over. Here is my shape B prime prime. All right, let's move on to, let me guess, rotations are going to be what's next. Whew. All right. One thing to remember about rotations is the basic rule that if I have a point at HK and I rotate 90 degrees, it's going to get me to -KH. I flip them and change the signs of what's now in my x value. Describe the rotation to go from A to A prime and B to B prime. Well, here, A to A prime, it looks like I rotated 90 degrees, 90 more degrees, 90 more degrees. This was a rotation of 270 degrees. Or maybe it was a negative rotation, because negative goes clockwise, of 90 degrees. Or a rotation of -90 degrees. And let's see, for B and B prime, here's B. B prime is right over here, even though the prime you can't see too well. Here's my center of rotation. It looks like I went counterclockwise this way, 180 degrees. I rotated 180 degrees here, or I rotated -180 degrees. Clockwise, it's going to bring me the same way. This also wants me to include the center of rotation. Well, I rotated around what looks like the point 0, 0 on B. For here, it looks like my center of rotation was the point -3, 2. And again, -3, 2 over here. All right, let's move on to the next one. Here, my point of rotation looks like for A is going to be right over here at -2, -2 is my center of rotation, because if I take it and spin it along there, this point stays the same, this point goes over there, this goes over there, that goes over there. That looks good. And that point stays exactly on itself. This was a rotation clockwise 90 degrees, or a rotation counterclockwise again, 270 degrees. B, again, is going to be 180 degrees. This time, though, I'm centered around the point 2, 2. And my rotation is rotated 180 degrees around the point 2, 2. All right, let's keep moving here. This wants me to perform the rotation, 90-degree rotation around point 0, because it didn't say otherwise. So I have my little rule where if I've got HK, it's going to bring me to, of a rotation of 90 is going to bring me to negative KH. So here's the point 1, 3. So that's going to turn to negative 3, 1. The point 0, 0 is not going to change because I flip and switch the signs of 0, 0. It's still just 0, 0. And here I've got 3, 2. That's going to flip and then change the signs of the first one. Negative 2, 3. So here are my new coordinates. Negative 3, 1 and negative 2, 3. Here is A prime after a rotation of 90 degrees. Okay, B prime. Well, a rotation of 90 degrees brings me from HK to negative KH. If I do 90 more degrees, well, I'm going to switch them and then change the sign of the first one again. So now this negative is going to come along for the ride to be negative K over here. This H is going to go over here, and I have to put a new negative sign in front. So if I started with HK, I do 90 degrees, 90 more degrees to make it 180. I'm going to end up with negative H, negative K. So this is at negative 4, negative 4. It'll be at the point 4, 4. This is at negative 3, negative 1. So sorry, negative 4, negative 4 will bring me to 4, 4. The point negative 3, negative 1, negative 3, negative 1 will now just become 3, 1. And the point negative 1, negative 2 will just become 1, 2. And what was it? 3, 1. Here is B prime. All right, final page in this packet. This is just a bunch of transformations together, I believe. Let's zoom out. Yep. Translate triangle A by x minus 2, y plus 3. So x minus 2, y plus, so minus 2 plus 3, minus 2 plus 3, minus 2, 1, 2, 3. Here's going to be my first shape. And then a reflection across the y-axis, which is this line right over here. So this is going to go 1, 1 over, and these two are going to switch, and my new shape is going to look like that. So this is A prime prime, and this was A prime over here. And my coordinates of A prime prime are negative 1, 2, negative 1, negative 1, and 1, negative 1. Whew. All right, let's try and get this done and have it be under, I don't think we're gonna get under 20 minutes in this video, but under 25 at least. Okay, rotate rectangle B 180 degrees about the origin, and then reflect rectangle B across the x-axis. So rotating 180 degrees, we saw before, if a rotation of 90 degrees brings me from HK to negative KH, I'm going to do that rotation one more time to get 180, which brings me to negative H, negative K. And so now let's look at my coordinates. I've got the point 1, 1, the point 1, 1, the point 2, 4, and the point 3, 0. So rotation 180 degrees is going to keep them in the same place and just change the sign. So it'll go to negative 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 4, and negative 3, 0. So I'm going to be at negative 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 4, and negative 3, 0. This is the points for B prime, and then a reflection over the x-axis is gonna get me, well, this point will stay here. I go 1 up, so 1 above the x-axis over here. This is at -4, so it's gonna go 4 to the line of reflection, and then 4 above the line of reflection. And here are the coordinates for my shape after that rotation and then reflection. This is B prime prime. And if we want to write the coordinates for that, those are the points -3, 0, -1, 1, and then -2, 4. All right, finally, how does the images change if the order of transformations in question 14 is reversed? So this wants me to do instead a reflection over the x-axis and then a rotation of 180 degrees. Well, if I reflected over the x-axis, I would end up looking like this. And if I spin this 180 degrees, it looks like it's not going to change it at all. So I'm going to say nothing changes in this case. All right, and so that is it for, nothing changes in this case. And so that is it for this video, just under 22 minutes for the whole packet.